This is the Grow My Clinic podcast by Clinic Mastery, where we help you deliver amazing client experiences to grow your clinic.
Hey, welcome to another episode. We are your hosts, Ben Lynch and Jack O'Brien from Clinic Mastery. And today on the podcast, Jack, we're going to be talking about rewarding, recognizing and reinforcing your values and how you can do that with some cool tech for your team members. So, Jack, tell us a little bit more about what we'll cover today.
Hey Ben, great to be with you on another podcast episode. Yeah, I think recognizing, reinforcing and rewarding your team is it's a fantastic activity, right? We all think it's brilliant, it's all rosy, but when the rubber hits the road, it's one of those things that gets pushed down the to-do list and you forget about, don't get around to. It's a tough job. I was speaking to a couple of business owners this morning around this very topic of being able to recognize your team in a meaningful way. And so finding the tools that allow you to do that is a challenge, but once you get them, they are so liberating. It's incredibly freeing once you've got the right tools to be able to do this in a way that enables you as the clinic owner to recognize your team, but also decentralize a reward system so that your team are recognizing each other for when they're living up to your values.
Amazing ability for us to be able to use some technology here, Jack, and have a bit more of a system. As we're always discussing, you've got to have a system around everything that you do in your clinic, and rewards and recognition are no different. We often talk to a lot of clinic owners and often ask the question, when's the last time that you recognize your team members? Not necessarily in a financial way, but just said, well done for the job that they're doing. And they go, well, it might have been weeks or months that they've not done it. And so if we can set up a system and a structure behind this, it's really going to help keep your team a little bit buoyant, and also knowing how well they're doing is really important to reinforce those values as you talk about, Jack. So before we dive into some of those specifics of how to, I just want to pick you up there. You've touched on a very important point about reinforcing values. And so clinic owners understanding, communicating, articulating those values is very important. Could you tell us a little bit more about getting that set before we can actually reinforce what those values are?
Yeah, sure. Look, I think at Clinic Mastery, we're really passionate about helping create values-based organisations. And so working with hundreds of clinic owners now around defining and articulating your values in a way that your team helps collaborate and contribute to is super important. But like you mentioned, the question is, when was the last time you recognised your team in a systemised way according to your values? And for listeners, I want you to think about that. When was the last time you recognised your team in a systemised way according to your values? If I can share a story with you, in my clinic, we sat down a couple of years ago and said, right, it's time for us to define who we are as an organisation. What are our values? What is our vision, mission and values? And so we fleshed all that out, ended up with values which would look fantastic on a poster or on a wall. It's on our intranet site, on our hub. It's all over the place. But the last thing I wanted to do was leave that as beautiful posters on the wall or just another tab in our comprehensive hub. And so, yeah, I mean, how ironic is that? How often does that happen, right? Values are just stuck up on the wall.
Yeah.
And so what we decided was to implement something that I understood from Daniel Gibbs and Shane Davis and yourself as part of Clinic Mastery called Bonusly. So the result of defining our values meant that we were going to use a tool called Bonusly. And what Bonusly does, it gamifies rewards and recognition amongst your team. And so now what we're able to do in a systemized way is for my team to recognize each other according to our values that we've all collectively defined. And it provides rewards. So we can recognize and reward in a systemized way according to our values. It's actually a remarkable tool. So the challenge for you listening is, how do you create a system so that your team can recognize and reward each other according to your values?
And Jack, this is one aspect of a bit more of a holistic recognition of, whether it's a pat on the back or you're reaching out, you're having a meeting and you're giving that feedback constantly to your team. So just putting into context here that using this app and software Bonusly, it's a free app. Is that correct, Jack?
It can be free. We pay on a per user basis, so you pay per user. So if you like, I can jump into the mechanics of how it works.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely.
So as a clinic owner, you set up an account, and the address, or to find it on the interwebs, is bonus.ly, and we'll link to it in the show notes. Jump on there. We'll have an affiliate link there you can follow and get you in the right place. You set up an account and you pay per user per month. I think it's $5 or something like that. I don't really care. It's worth it 1,000 times over. But you set up an account and you pay per user. And what you do is that you give each of your team members points to give away per month. So you might give them 100 points to give away to each other. You define what those points are worth. So, for instance, you might give your team 100 points each to give away. And you've defined that 10 points is worth $1. Effectively, what you're doing is you're giving your team cash, money, to give away to each other. Mm-hmm. And then what your team do, so let's say you've got a team member Steve, and he's got 100 points to give away per month. Steve can choose how he gives those points away, but what he's got to do is give points to another person according to your values. So what it does, it creates this feed. It's almost like a Facebook type feed. So Steve has to give points. What he might do is give 10 points to Christine for living out our value of finding a better way. Okay? Or you might even put in there plus 10 points to Christine for helping Mary out to her car with her walker. #find a better way. And so this creates a feed, and so it's not just recognising Christine for doing something great, but the whole team realises that Christine has done something great. And one of the other benefits, Ben, is that it means that Steve recognises Christine, and so the business owner doesn't feel all the pressure of having to recognise everyone every time.
And so, Jack, often what happens is we come to November, and the clinic owner's thinking Christmas time, Christmas bonus,
right.
Christmas gifts. Would you suggest that this might be an alternative, that throughout the year people are essentially getting, rewards and recognitions? Is it different from that, or is it joined with it?
Yeah, sure. It's a good point. It depends how you want to set up your clinic. In our example, we've decided that we don't need Christmas bonuses for the sake of it. There's just an arbitrary bonus because it's a constant theme of recognition. Because what happens, Ben, in that same example where Steve's given points to Christine, and let's assume that the receptionist has given points to Christine and someone else has given points, Christine ends up building up this bank of points. Over 3 months, she might accumulate 480 points. She can then redeem those points for a range of different rewards, and she can choose. So it might be things like an iTunes voucher or Amazon voucher, Coles or a Myer voucher. She could donate it to charity if she chooses. She could redeem it for cash payout. You, as the clinic owner, get to decide how your team redeem their points. But what it means that Christine or whoever's on your team can redeem a bonus according to what's meaningful for them. So you, as the clinic owner, might think that giving someone a bunch of flowers is the ultimate form of recognition, but it might not speak to everyone on your team. What this means through Bonusly is that your team can be rewarded in a way that's meaningful for them.
Fantastic. So really, for the listeners out there, please look into bonus.ly, Bonusly. It's a fantastic application. I'm sure there are others. We've become quite familiar with this platform and use it quite well. But the intention here is to have almost a social recognition model where your team members are recognizing one another. It doesn't have to just come from the top down. And it's based on, Jack, what you pointed out so beautifully, it's based on the values of your business, of your clinic. And so essentially, we're not just creating values to be put on the wall, like you said, Jack. This is the actual practical application, the accountability to keep those values alive and being lived on a daily basis. And your team, no doubt, that keeps it front and center for them, Jack, on their mind, because they're recognizing their peers based on displays of those values.
Yeah, it's constantly on their mind, and it's fun, it's social, it's competitive. There's all sorts of gamifications that you can make for it. It's a bit of a tricky system to set up, and prior to this call, I was helping some of our Clinic Mastery Business Academy members set this up. That's part of the Done For You Business Academy that we make that happen. But once you get it going, it's such a beautiful system that helps delegate and empower your team to do things so it doesn't all rest on you as the business owner. So you can do what only you can do and do it well.
Fantastic, Jack. And as we're always talking here, the systems are so key for your business. And if it doesn't have to rely on you, you allow the team to do it, then that just gives added strength and structure to your clinic moving forward. We want it to rely less on you. So a brilliant platform. Please check it out. And it's a great practical way, as we said, to live out those values on a daily basis and gamify it. I love that word there, Jack. Make it a little bit exciting for the team, a little bit different to what they'd normally do. Beautiful. Well, thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of the podcast. We would absolutely love your honest reviews and ratings on iTunes or whatever listening platform you choose. And if you could share it with your friends and colleagues on social media, it would absolutely mean the world to us. We suggest that you head on over to clinicmastery.com/podcast to get the show notes here and show notes from every podcast. And you'll also see links there to our free Grow My Clinic resource and online training where you can take some simple steps to grow your clinic. I'm going to say a big thanks to you, Jack. As always, very practical content and usable content. Everyone listening, have a spectacular day, and we'd love to hear how you go implementing a structure like Bonus.
This is the Grow My Clinic podcast by Clinic Mastery, where we help you deliver amazing client experiences to grow your clinic.